here. Welcome to another edition of Sled Shed TV. Today we're back in the shop with our crossover sled and composite tracks. And what they have for us is their cross-country track for under this. It's a Tallon T38 and it's got a nice aggressive lug pattern on it and we really like it. A little background on Composit. They've been producing tracks since 1992 and they've been selling in the US and Canada since about 2008. We did a little background check on this track compared to other cross-country and crossover tracks. This track comes in at about 2 pounds lighter than everybody else and it's about $300 cheaper. So why wouldn't we go with Composit? We lose a little weight and we save a little cash in the end. So come on along and we'll throw this thing under the sled. We got a lot of work to do. All right, so here's our Composit Tallon T38. We got an 1.5-inch lug, pretty aggressive lugs, and they're really stiff. We like that. In conjunction with our woody studs, we think this will be a perfect track for this sled. Okay, so I wanted to show both processes of the track coming out and the track going in, but we have so many steps to this process that I think the video is going to be too long, so we're going to show you the process of the track going back in. It's basically just a reverse of the track coming out. Coming out, the first thing you have to do is you want to take the bolts out of your skid. There's 4 bolts, 2 on each side, front and rear. Then you're going to take off your brake caliper and rotor. This will loosen the left side of your axle up. Then you go over to the right side of the sled and you're going to take off your muffler, your battery box, your chain case cover, your bottom chain case gear, and then that loosens your axle all the way up and everything can slide right out. Then what you're going to do is, now we have the Composit T38 track in, we have our axle in, and that's where we're starting off right now. What we need to do now is we need to get this brake caliper and rotor back down in here and on the axle. Okay, so our caliper and our rotor are back on, our snap rings are on. Our bolts that we put in there, be sure when you put the bolts in that you're using a blue thread locker to keep them in there. Now all we got to do is put our rotor guard on and our caliper guard on, and we're done with this side. Okay, so our guards are on the left side. The left side's all buttoned up. Now we go over to the right side and we put on our muffler, our battery box, our battery, our gear, our chain case cover, and then we're ready to put in the skid and button everything up. Okay, we're on the right side of the sled now. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put our gear on. We're going to put our chain case cover on. Okay, so our gear is back in the chain case. Our chain case cover is back on. What I wanted to remind you is the chain case cover itself is made out of aluminum and your bolts are steel. So what you want to do is you want to put, again, the blue thread locker, and you only want to go hand tight with these because the aluminum threads in here against the steel threads, you're going to tear the aluminum threads right out. So only hand tight on your chain case cover bolts. Next up, we're going to put on our battery box and put our battery. So our battery box is back on, our muffler is back on. Your gas temp sensor, be sure to use an anti-seize compound on this because these rust fast inside these mufflers real quick and they're a pain to get back out if you don't. So right now we're going to go underneath the sled now and we're going to start putting the skid in. Okay, so our skid went in really quick. It slid right in. They usually do, as long as you keep your track spread. You put the front end first, slide it over, it goes right in. Now all we have to do is line our 4 bolt holes up, bolt it in, tighten the track up, and we're done. Okay, so our Composit Tallon T38 track is now in. Everything's tightened up, everything's buttoned up, we're ready to go. One rule for you, track tension. You want an 1 to 1.5 inch gap between your track and your slide. And then what you want to do is you want to run your track a little bit, and then you want to come back here and you want to measure from the end of the track to the wheel, and both sides should measure the same, and you have your track squared. I really like the lugs on this track. I think it's a very aggressive track, and I can't wait to get it out on the trail. I also like the fact that it weighs 2 pounds less than a regular 2-ply track, and I'm liking the price at about $350. So if you want to check out what they have to offer for your sled, just go to www.composit-usa.com and check out what they have for your sled. So for that, I'm Indy, and if we don't see you before, we'll see you on the trail.